This will be fun.
Hey,
Yay!
this worked.
This works. This is probably the
Love
easiest
it when
thing.
technology works.
I know.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, no, today's like kind of sunny out and then it's pouring and then it's sunny. I feel like I'm living in Florida again.
Right.
Yeah.
Except you're inside just looking out the window. So you are in Manhattan, I assume?
Yeah, I'm in Manhattan right now. Yeah.
Okay. With
Yeah.
your hubs and your baby.
With my hubs and my baby. My baby is napping right now, but that might not be the case during the duration of this Instagram live. So my husband is on call though right now. So if he does wake up for a nap, Jeff's got him. But yeah, it's you know how it goes.
I totally
How old
do.
is your little one?
So she's 2.5. I mean, there's a good chance she might bust in the door too. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, whatever.
whatever.
Roll with the flow, right? I think that's the one thing that I'm really learning as kind of a working mom, just a new mom in general. Just go with the flow. That's the best way.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own way. Everyone
Yeah,
can figure out what's going to work for them and what's important.
yeah,
But I think you're just 100% right. You just don't know with a little person who doesn't have the ability to think strategically and to think mature in a mature way
oh
is
yeah,
going to do.
oh yeah, yeah. No, and I don't even know that you can reason with them even when they're 2.5, right? Like your daughter, but certainly not when they're 8 months old.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's been
interesting.
fun.
So this is good. So like before I even get to anything,
Yeah.
just would you tell me where you are? Like, what's your official title, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, so 8 Golf is a holding company that oversees 6 golf companies: Golf Magazine, Golf.com, TrueSpec, Mira, Nicholas Companies, Logics, and Club Connects too. Club Connects is more of a B2B brand, and not the other ones are more consumer facing. But I am head of brand at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. just launched less than 2 years ago. And the president of 8 a.m., Hoyt McGarity, called me one day, said, "Hey, we're just kind of starting this thing, and we would love to chat with you." And it's literally just getting off the ground, and it would be a chance for you to work, not only stay within golf media, but also work with these other golf brands. And that's what really drew me to the position. Was the opportunity to, again, not only stay in media because that was my background, but really learn about other industries within golf. And ultimately, golf is what I love. It's my passion. So, if, just that thought of being able to have a more holistic understanding of the industry was really exciting to me. So I met with him and with Howard Milstein, and it was just such a good opportunity, too good to pass up. And I'm so glad that I made the switch. And I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. So head of brand, I mean, I think every company is a media company in a way. Because I think that's how you get your product and your message to resonate, is telling good stories. And that's been kind of my biggest goal or mission or hope, is to position each of the companies and brands under the 8 a.m. umbrella, position them in a way that helps them tell a better story, and a story that really resonates. So whether that is Golf Magazine or Golf.com, or TrueSpec, the brand agnostic fitting company, or Nicholas Design and Nicholas Companies, they all have that ability to just really tell a good story and connect with consumers. And that's been the super fun challenge.
So you started with Golf Digest, is that right?
Yes. Yep. I doing it for the sheer thrill. Someone just said. I love your name, by the way. I want to ask you where your name comes from. But we'll get to that.
It's a flower. Quick answer, it's a flower. And I was
Trillium.
in May. Yeah, and it blooms in May. And so my parents didn't actually have a name, and it was in bloom. So that's how they got the idea.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And Trillium Rose. Oh my goodness.
I know, I can't. Well, I married a rose. Isn't that crazy? So I went to like 1 flower to 2 flowers.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know?
I love it. Um, yes, so I started working at Golf Digest when I was 21, right out of college. And it was actually a week after graduating that I started. And it was where I was born and raised. I mean, I love that brand. I always will. And it was cool to start there in January 2007 when Facebook was just opening up to non-Ivy League kids.
Mhm.
Twitter wasn't yet born. It was born a month later. .com was simply a place to push subscriptions to a magazine. So there was really only one way to tell a story when I started at Golf Digest, and that was through the print product.
Right.
And then slowly seeing the evolution of digital while I was there and what that meant to media was really, really cool.
It's cool that we've lived through that.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody on here has lived through print to clicks, screens.
Yes. Yeah. And on one hand, it's a little bit frustrating navigating this new world and like understanding, keeping up, feeling like you're able to keep up with all the options.
Yeah.
But on the other, it is so awesome. And the other way you could really impact a consumer one way, and that was with print and paper. And the feedback was so minimal. You really didn't know if what you were putting out there was resonating, and therefore you didn't really care. So it was kind of like a dictatorship where it's like, I will feed you this information, and if you don't like it, well, tough, because
right. And
I am the law.
Yesterday I was talking to Hallie Ledbetter, and she's like, my dad, she's listening to her dad talk about this.
Sure.
Back in the day, if somebody took a position on something that was controversial, a coach, you wouldn't have a rebuttal for another month until the next issue came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to now where you're like hammered that second on Twitter.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, it's both a blessing and a curse, but mostly a blessing. To be able to get that instant feedback, to really have the consumer tell you what they want to hear, how they want to consume. But yeah, it's, oh, hi, Susie. I loved her chat with you. I thought that was super interesting and informational, but, and she's so inspiring. Yeah. But yeah. But I think that's been the ultimate thrill of the last 7 years. So.
Do you think that? I mean, okay, the space is obviously loud now. Anybody and somebody went in the comments just a moment ago said, "What's the best way to get published? Do I just do it on my own, or do I wait for someone to notice me?" And that's a big question. It's a great question. I think not just with a book per se, but you want to publish. You want to put content out. And when I hear the word publish, I think now just, say something.
Hit send.
Yeah. Say something. You want to say something. It could be a video. It could be a blog. It could be whatever your message is. Your brand can take so many new shapes.
Yeah.
And so, I love books. I'm never going to stop reading books. And I think I'm probably not alone. I don't think publishers are in any danger. Yeah. But it is easier just to go your own way, and it's easier to just to get in the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're in a place now where you're like, okay, you have these top brands, and you've got some brands that are sort of unknown that are becoming top, right, within your domain. Mm-hmm. So, what are some challenges that you're looking at to stay either noticed or ahead, or are you just saying, look, we're not going to try to get ahead. We're just going to do our thing and let people stick with us? Or what's your prediction on how it's all going to shake out in the next 5, 10, 7 years?
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately, if you're interested in adding your voice to the mix, you just have to ask yourself, what is it? What is my message? What am I trying to say? And stick with that. I think ultimately, if you have something to say, certainly if you have something compelling to say, you're going to get heard. And you're right. It is kind of like a flood out there right now of information. But I think that as long as you're true to your authentic message and you just stick with that and put that out there in whatever mediums speak to you, whatever mediums you have fun with, then you're going to get heard. So it's, I think that there's room in the golf industry, and certainly in other industries too, there must be, but golf is what I know personally. I think there's all the room in the world for all of our voices, because since consumers can choose what they want to listen to, what they want to consume, what they want to read, then that means that I'm not competing with you. It's not like they only have 10 people from which to listen.
Yeah.
They can listen to 100 people. As long as you have something compelling to say and I have something compelling to say, we are working together. I think that that's the ultimate magic of media right now, is that all the voices have a place. And for anyone to say that, only traditional media has the authority to say certain things, or only these like rogue bloggers have, the wherewithal to share a message, that's, I think, the dangerous kind of way to go about this, and the way to think about this. I think, knowing that all of us have a place and all of us have the right to share our opinions is the ultimate key. And so, I've never really understood that whole competitive
I love that
vibe.
Too. I love that too. I've always felt that there's enough space for all of us. As I'm a coach.
Yes.
I want everybody with me. I don't feel competitive with someone next door. I may not agree with everybody, but that's okay.
You don't have to agree with everyone all the time.
Right. I may choose to do it differently. I may not, I may think, that's not for me, or I'm going to say something. That's fine. But you know what? I still want them to be there.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying is interesting. It's that, there are a lot of people in the world. There are a lot of eyeballs and a lot of trigger fingers that are going to click.
Yeah.
And so just do you, be you.
Just be you. Yeah. Because there's no one else like you. And so, I think if you stick with that, I think that the other dangerous thing about today's world is playing the comparison game. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy to do, and just looking and judging people from the content that they put out there, and then seeing how that content is received, but really only knowing a little bit about how that content is received, and then thinking that you know the full story. I think that can be very dangerous, because you never know the full story. Right. And so as soon as I start playing, what's that?
Like number of views or comments or likes, you mean?
Yeah. If you're talking Instagram, or even a .com piece, you can kind of have an idea for how many readers that piece gets, but you never really know from the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. A podcast episode, you never know how many people are listening, but you might have an idea. The whole point is, as soon as you start feeling like, that person's doing better than I am, that person has this message and I'm telling this message, maybe I should be more like that person and tell that message because it's clearly resonating. That's where I think you go wrong. Yeah. I think as long as you're authentic to what you truly believe, and stick with that, and just know that both of your voices belong, golden. I think this can happen in the instructor space too, very easily. Because there are a lot of instructors out there, and a lot of differing opinions and methods. But as long as you stick with the one that
You really just said, be brave enough to be talked about. That's nicely summed up.
And isn't it so much easier said than done? But it's true. If people are talking about you, you're doing something right. So
something right.
Yeah.
And then Mike Wells after said, with everything out there, how do you know which sources are real? And I think this is big, because this ties back to the kind of crowded room. And I'm in Washington, D.C., and I follow politics closely. My in-laws were in the White House, and it's all around me. I'm only 1 degree removed from someone that works on the Hill, or someone that's somehow involved in something. And you know, you can listen to who you want, whoever you want to listen to.
Yeah.
You can get into this echo chamber where you can speak to the audience that you want, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And I think how do you just, like, I feel like, this is my personal opinion, but I'd really like to know what yours is, that the voices that are coming from, like you said, genuine places, or that are built upon good either information or good journalism, or for whatever it's worth, just authentic, let's say.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to become more and more transparent. Maybe they're consistent, maybe they're whatever it is, and the audience will be able to see that. But
Yeah.
how does one navigate, I guess, from either side, from the doer or from the consumer, what's legit?
You know, okay, so if you're a consumer, the question that I would ask myself is, how does this content make me feel? How does this person make me feel? And you know better than anyone, confidence is kind of the ultimate driver. You know, if you're trying to get better at golf, think that you're better at golf, and you will probably get better at golf. You know, the thoughts and kind of your mental state are such huge drivers for success in any area. And so if I'm consuming instruction content, just to be more specific, and I think that whenever I watch one of your videos, I feel amazing, and I just want to get out there and, you know, hit the range and practice a drill and, you know, do things that will ultimately better my game, I'm going to consume more of your content. If I watch someone else's videos and they make me feel like, oh my God, I'm doing this all wrong, like that doesn't speak to me, I've never heard about the top of the swing, you know, phrased in that way, and it's just confusing. To me, that happens whenever anything is too technical. Like, you know, if there are 8 steps in a swing, and I have to nail each of those steps in exactly this way, otherwise I have a terrible swing. That's what I stay away from, just personally, because it doesn't make me feel good. So that is up to the consumer. Now, the person who is teaching that, you know, step-by-step swing and very rigid, they are speaking to people who love that. And that's okay. You know, those kinds of golfers and students exist, and all the power to them. But personally, I'm just going to seek out more people like, say, you or other teachers who are a little more field-based, and so on and so forth. I take the same tactic with media consumption, with any way that I consume content. I just, you know, subconsciously am drawn to content that makes me feel good and empowers me to either learn more about that subject, which I didn't know a lot about, or, you know, so on and so forth. Yeah. So I think then if you were to take the flip view and ask yourself, as a provider of content, I'm just going to provide content that I love because I know that there's an audience out there for it. So if I love teaching the swing in these many steps and super rigid and super scientifically, I know that there's an audience. I'm not going to try to, though, convince someone who's a field player to learn my methods.
There's something for everybody. It's a buffet, right? Like,
exactly.
I want lobster, you want tabbouleh.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why you want tabbouleh when there's
over pasta.
Whatever.
But all the power to you. I won't judge you. This is a judgment-free zone.
Judgment free.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. I mean, you have such an interesting perch. You know, you've been at Golf Digest for 10 years, right?
I was there for 11 years.
11 years. You had one-on-one interactions with just top journalists. You have a journalism background. You're a journalist. Yeah. And coaches, and I mean, photographers and players. You were on tour. You're inside the ropes. You basically were everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
So what do you think that did for your own game personally, if anything? Because did you play in college?
I did. I played competitively at the University of Virginia, not too far from you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you have an identical twin, right?
I do. We both played there. We were actually both part of the first women's golf team at UVA. So that was awesome, just to have that experience and to have that opportunity to start something new at a university so steeped in history. That was really cool. So we learned how to play golf together. We were each other's practice buddies. I mean, we took all the lessons together, all the tournaments, um, and yeah, we played golf in college together. She still plays every now and then. She had twins herself 4 years ago, and she just had a baby boy 3 weeks after mine. And so yeah, we're lifelong golf.
What if you have twins after this?
Trill. Just stop. Just stop. James Nicholas. Do you know James?
I don't.
Oh, come on. You got to start following him.
Okay. I might follow you.
One of the prettiest, it'll make you sick. One of the prettiest golf swings on Instagram. Yeah. So very, very good golfer and a nice guy and super talented videographer.
And were you a journalism major in undergrad?
So no, so my sister and I both entered college thinking that we wanted to become doctors. She did become a doctor. I did not. I was a pre-med for a year and a half, and then I took a media studies class just because I needed to fill a void or like a hole in my schedule, and I loved it. I loved this media studies. I was like, oh my God, this is what it's like to actually go to class and love what you're learning. Like, I didn't love biology. I didn't love organic chemistry. And so I went down that road. And then I quickly realized, like, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to write, and I want to, be in media. And so I called my mom, and my mom from Cuba, she was an immigrant, she living this American dream story, coming from nothing and then having twin girls going to UVA. They're both doctors. And so I called her and I was like, you know what, Mom, I don't think I want to be a doctor. I think I want to major in English and be a writer. And silence on the other line. She was not thrilled about that. She loves what I do now, but she wasn't thrilled about that idea. But I think that was just something that I realized that I really gravitated toward and just kind of stuck with it. And yeah, they didn't have a journalism major at UVA when I went there, so I ended up majoring in English and taking more media studies courses. But then once I got the job at Golf Digest, about a few years in, I went and got my master's in digital journalism from Columbia. Columbia School of Journalism. And so I just went as a part-time student, kept working, and that's where I got my degree in journalism.
That is so fabulous.
Yeah.
So fabulous, and really putting it to work in every single dimension.
Yeah, it was a super crazy time when I went to Columbia, because that was when the transition to digital really started happening. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like I could learn so much from my colleagues at Digest about all things publishing, but all of us were learning digital. And so I was like, well, I should go back to it. In a classroom setting, I felt like I could really learn with others who were as eager to learn about the space, meaning the students and the professors. So that's where I really learned a lot about these new emerging platforms, and it was a game changer for me.
Who was most influential for you as a journalist when you were in those formative years, like, say 5, 6, 7 years into it?
As a journalist, oh man. I don't know who was most influential to me as a journalist.
It doesn't have to be a really exciting answer. It could just be, I learned how to write in full sentences or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think the one professor that I had at Columbia that really impacted me most strongly was Gail Collins, and she was a columnist for the New York Times. And I actually took a class with her. And that's, I think, the most beautiful thing about Columbia is, the professors. And they, in the real world, they're actual, like, functioning, journalists. They're not professors full-time at Columbia, at least not at the journalism school, most of them.
Not in teachers college either when I went. They're all active teachers somehow.
I love that. Yeah. And so she was a columnist for the New York Times. I had read her pieces forever. And just getting to work with her, I think she taught me the power of being relatable. And you don't have to use fancy words and, sit on this high horse in order to command attention or respect. You really have to actually be on everyone's level and speak to them like they're your peers. And so I think, if you were to ask me who was most influential, I think she taught me the most about how to make content. Now, this was the written word, but I think it spans and sprawls through all mediums, is just how to produce content that speaks to people and feels relatable.
Yeah, I'm thinking of blogs. Tons of people have blogs, or just whatever you want to put on your website too, or if you're
Yeah.
trying to submit something. How
Yeah.
did you guys decide what made it to print and what didn't? Because I know there's so many good instructors who are so many people. You can't in print you couldn't fit everybody in. Now you can do
Yeah.
a bit more. But like, what would you
Hmm.
looking for? What still are you looking for? Because you still have golf,
In
.com.
content that makes it to print.
Yeah, or makes it to screen.
Yeah. Well, I think that answer is changing more and more as magazines become less of, well, certainly they're not the only source of information anymore. And in a lot of people's lifestyles, they're not the primary source of information. So if you think about that and think, okay, if people still are reading magazines, in what context do they read them? Probably they're reading them on their sofa, laid back.
Right.
It's an escape for them. It's something that they do passively. And we know that when they're reading a magazine, they're probably not also getting alerts at the same time. And it's a very kind of relaxing experience. So now when we think about, okay, how can we fill those pages? Just knowing how the consumer is acting or consuming that information, a lot of times we'll think stories that can be illustrated boldly, beautifully. Those are the pieces that we want to put in a magazine. No longer does a magazine have to be kind of a consumer report, digest of like, here's this product versus this one and stacked up in grids and like packed with information. Now, more than ever, a magazine needs to, offer an escape and inspire.
Very
And yeah, so I think more and more you're seeing magazines go in that direction of magazines have always been beautiful and have always led with images and photography. But I think that's more important now than ever in this digital world. And then online is when we can really offer information that is actionable. Yeah. Lefty for life. Thank you.
That's so nice.
Yeah. Actually, my niece is a lefty. She's 4 years old. She's a lefty for sure. Like in the beginning, you never really know. And, you kind of try to push the righty agenda. But no, she's a lefty golfer. So there you go.
Isn't that interesting? And your sister's righty.
My sister's righty. Her twin sister is righty. Everyone is righty. But, oh, yeah. Gia says both of her twins are lefty. I mean, I think it just happens. But it's amazing to me how young the kids are when they're displaying these lefty tendencies. Because Allie, my niece, has just always been a lefty. She's always used her left hand and swung lefty. And even if you give her a right-handed golf club, she turns around, flips it over, and swings lefty.
At 4.
Well, now she's 4, but she was doing that at like 2.5, 3. So.
Oh yeah,
hey,
4. You're like, no, that's way too late. 2.
Yeah.
We need a 2.
Has your daughter started swinging or no?
Yeah, she's a putter.
Okay.
We've been throwing. I've been mostly throwing with her.
Yeah.
And I figured, we can get our hands on a club. I actually have these fiddlesticks. I played lacrosse in college. So fiddlesticks are lacrosse sticks that are really light.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Light and short. Like you can just do one-handed as an adult. It's like nothing.
Oh, cool.
So they're perfectly sized and weighted for her. So if she, for some reason, gets it and she loves it, and she hasn't seen me throw very much at all.
Okay.
But whatever. I just think throwing a ball right now is great. Like
yes.
2.5.
Yeah.
So.
Make it fun, right? Make it fun. Yeah.
This is just so interesting to me that and you've kind of answered a few questions I had about where you think we're going. Obviously after 9/11, I was in New York for 9/11. I think you probably were too, not yet.
So I had just moved to Florida
Okay.
the summer before.
Okay. So everything changed after that for, safety, getting onto an airplane. Like life just changed a bit.
Yeah.
Now you can't bring water bottles on. Life's going to change for us a little bit, but I don't want to get too far down that road, but I do think, especially because everyone's inside and everybody's on their phones or their tablets or their computers. So suddenly all attention now is on like everybody else, what we're doing, and B, like what are next steps? Next steps are, what, golf's going to be a great sport. Yeah. It's going to be a fabulous thing for people to do because there's you can be away from them.
Yeah.
So I feel like golf is going to emerge as a major winner out of this. And right now, so there's like two parts to this. One is people being more familiar with what they can learn online and how they can use it, and either as a consumer or as a giver. And then I think golf's going to become a lot more appealing. What do you think?
You think golf is going to become a lot more what?
Sorry. Appealing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I think Dennis knows how to speak to me because he's asking me if I prefer the punch bowl or the thumbprint. And he didn't even need that parenthetical aside, sleepy 15 versus 16. I knew exactly what he was talking about. I am a sleepy 15 girl. I prefer the punch bowl because in a punch bowl, I've never had a hole-in-one. Your chances of getting a hole-in-one are much greater. And it's fun. The thumbprint is okay, but I mean, if you're not inside the thumbprint, then you're screwed. So I choose punch bowl because it's more fun. There you go.
So funny. I used to teach at Sleepy Hollow, by the way.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
So 15 is this par 5, and the shot onto the green is blind. And there's this little device where if you're playing it after you've cleared, it's clear for you twist it so it's like, okay, hey, you're ready to go, and then the next group can go. It's kind of cool.
I love that. That's so like old school. It's like simpler times.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking about golf, I think the thing that everyone's really realizing how much they miss right now is hanging out and the sense of community and really, being able to just spend quality time with others. And I think that that's where golf really shines. And I think that if you didn't realize that that was such a magical part of the game before COVID, then you might realize that after. And that's going to be a beautiful discovery because that's been something that I've valued forever. I competed in college, and it's very different when you're competing, as you know. Competitive golf and recreational golf might as well be as different as tennis and skiing.
Yeah.
They don't even resemble each other. So competitive golf, when I played in college, that was one thing. But right when I started working at Digest, I started realizing, wow, golf is so much more fun when you don't have to write a score on your scorecard at the end of every hole. It opened up this aha moment for me where it helped me really realize the other beautiful aspects of the game. And luckily for me, I have been in tune with those aspects for years. And I think that a lot of people, after they get back out there, are going to realize those aspects and just how awesome it is to really spend time with people on a golf course, walk with them, share stories, laugh with them. It doesn't matter what you shoot. So I think that's one way
By the way,
the sport will change.
Funny. Hit nerd goes, looking forward to the next foursome of total strangers.
Yes. You know what? I used to show up at Bethpage as a single or maybe with one other person and you get paired up with the most amazing people at Bethpage. I actually have some great stories from total randoms. But yeah, that's a cast of characters for sure. But even that, I'm not even saying you have to spend time with people that you know on a golf course. It's beautiful getting to know people on the golf course. So So yeah, but I think, you know, golf is going to totally survive, if not thrive. Um, COVID can't stop it. It's been around for way, 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 way too long
I think
for
COVID
anyone
is
to
going
say
to
any one thing
push
is going
people.
to.
I think COVID's going to push people into it, actually.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely, because it,
Right. I just lost your sound. Can you still hear me? I can't hear you. Hmm. Hmm. How about now? Hmm. Can anybody hear me? Who can hear who? Somebody type in there. You want to shut down? We all lost her sound. Yeah, we all. You want to shut down her as if she can hear me? All right.